My name is Lydia Kim.
Michael Santos.
Florence
Joanne Kim.
Alanya
Lynette.
I grew up in
Los Angeles, California.
Chicago, Illinois.
Los Angeles, born and raised.
I was born in LA and Pasadena, specifically.
Born in California. Then when I was around 3 years old, my brother was 1 year old, we moved back to China. Then in 2007 we moved to Colorado, where I attended high school.
I was born in Chicago, but in the early years of my life I was raised in Thailand.
I major in sociology and French. I am in ACE, which is Asian Culture Exchange. I originally didn't want to join any Asian student organization just because during high school I was still taking English language learning lessons, so I felt more inclined to be with or hang out with the Chinese students. When I started at DePaul, I didn't want to join Asian student organization just because I felt like I might fall back into my old habit and start hanging out with people that I felt familiar with, which are people that can speak Chinese. One of my friends in my dorm, he took me to this event they had, so that kind of attracted me to say, oh, this is more than just hanging out. They actually do celebrate their heritage. They do something that's about their culture.
I'm a senior at DePaul University studying Human Resource Management.
DePaul Marketing Consulting Group. It was something new. I'm a management major, but it's not exclusive to marketing majors, and I figured if I had at least some knowledge about it, that would actually make me a more, well-rounded.
My major is accounting. My minor is in hospitality. I also joined the Asian Culture Exchange, but it was the one club that seemed to be more interesting other than joining the accounting club.
My major is public relations and advertising, and my minor is journalism. I'm just a sister of Delta Phi Lambda. I guess I wasn't specifically looking to join an Asian organization, but the more I thought about it, the more it made sense because I didn't have many Asian friends growing up at all, and I didn't identify much with my Asian culture. So I feel like being around sisters who were Asian and just learning more about my culture, being surrounded by them, did a lot for me and made me treasure that side of myself.
My major is psychology, and I have a Mandarin Chinese minor. Yes, I'm involved in Delta Phi Lambda. It's an Asian interest sorority on campus. I didn't join it just because it was specifically Asian interest. I had made friends first, and then that's what got me into joining.
I'm a cybersecurity major at DePaul. I'm involved in Lambda Phi Epsilon, an Asian interest fraternity. I go to ACE, Asian Cultural Exchange. I had a natural interest for Asian related things because I'm Asian and found it easier to get along with other Asian people, and also I just wanted to try new things, just, join a fraternity, do something very different.
So I identify as Chinese Filipino. The way that my parents raised me, showing me both cultures of being Chinese and Filipino and also being an American. They always say it's good to have best of both worlds so that I can understand the stories from both sides. By being Chinese, I was taught to have family values, to follow traditions and respect my elders. While being American, my parents have encouraged me to be creative, to think outside the box, and to pursue higher education. Although there are times where it's awkward with the racism or just ignorance on people's parts and the stereotypes. But I'm proud to be American.
When I was younger, I used to see myself as more American just because I would spend a lot of summers in Thailand, or my Thai family would come to the US, to Chicago, to take care of me, and they would point out I was really dominant, that I was so Americanized in terms of being so confrontational and different qualities. But growing up, I've realized, as compared to some of my other Asian friends, that I feel a deep connection to the Thai culture, just having grown up there, being really close to my mom's side of the family. Also, when I studied abroad in China, I would always identify as being American or from the US when they'd be like, where are you from? When people would ask me, when my teachers or classmates, but I couldn't help but want to talk about the Thai culture with them too. I wasn't so much aware of my Chinese. I didn't embrace it as much as I do now. What changed that was I went to a summer camp, Chinese Seeking Roots summer camp, and I was the one who could not speak Chinese at that point. I could not identify with the other students in terms of their Chinese upbringing when they would talk about certain things that customs or mannerisms that their family had, and would make jokes about that I just didn't understand. So after that, I took the effort to want to get to know more about China. So only in recent years have I really wanted to get in touch with my Chinese roots.
I consider myself more Asian than American since I live half of my life so far in China and the other half thesis in US. As I lived most of my childhood in China, I did experience a lot of different customs, such as going to the flower market during Chinese New Year or experiencing the Mid-Autumn Festival and not just thinking about it as Happy Mooncake, but also thinking about the story, the myth, the legend behind the holiday, the festival, and the meaning, and also spending it with the family.
Before, I didn't even really relate to my Asian culture that much because I always grew up around white people and I didn't experience much of my culture. Even though my parents taught me like my language and my mom cooked Korean food, I feel like I didn't really experience the culture that much. I didn't know about like any of the K-pop. I didn't know any cultural things going on. I didn't know about like any of the traditions. And my family's really distant, so I didn't know any of my family. So I didn't really identify with being Asian. So before, if you asked me that question, I definitely would have just said I was American. The more that I've been around Asian people and the more that my parents have really stressed how important it is to be Asian and to know more about my culture and kind of connected more with my family in more recent times, I identify more with my culture. People always expect Asians to be really like well-mannered, very proper, also very submissive. I think that's the biggest thing. I think that goes along with the fact that Asian culture doesn't treat women as well as they should, and those are all the typical traits that men always say that women should have and should be to be well-mannered.
Expect me to be really good at math. They might expect me to know all the Asian languages, to be an expert in Asian culture in general.
Play a guessing game of who I am or what I am. Being in class, people automatically assume that I speak an Asian language and I don't.
Oh, like what are you? Or like where are you from? Where's your family from? Like, sometimes it's just like interactions on the train.
Oh, good at math. Works on, or he's gonna be a nurse in the future or something.
I should be one of the model minorities. I like am a goody two-shoes, or like things that follow the stereotypes.
Student success. For the most part, I consider independence would be being successful.
Doing the best you can in your classes, obviously doing well in your major classes.
Working and having a life beyond being a student and being successful in that is also important.
Happiness. That if I'm happy with what I'm doing, if I'm happy with where I am, then I think that to me defines success.
As long as you're achieving whatever personal goal you set for yourself.
Even just holding it together, you know, like making it through, having friends and like staying mentally healthy is more how I define student success rather than just your grades.